I didn't get disowned in private. My mother waited until the candles were lit, the cameras were out, and everyone we knew in Atlanta was listening. Then she took the microphone and announced I was no longer her daughter. She said it like a celebration, like she was finally free of me. And the worst part? My dad stood right beside her, nodding, smiling, while my little brother recorded the whole thing. Before I take you back to that night, please take a moment to like and subscribe to Revenge Bite, but only if this story genuinely resonates with you. Also, I'd love to know where you're watching from right now. Drop your location and your local time in the comments. Now, let me take you back. It was April 12th, my 25th birthday. The restaurant my mom picked was one of those places in Buckhead where they dim the lights just enough to make everyone look expensive. Private dining room. White tablecloths. A server stationed at the door like we were hosting a gala instead of a family dinner. My mother, Denise Brooks, had insisted on doing something special this year. She said I deserved it. She said she was proud of me. I should have known something was wrong the moment I walked in and saw the microphone stand. It was positioned near the head of the table like someone was about to give a wedding toast. My dad, Curtis, was already seated, adjusting his cufflinks like he was preparing for a performance. My little brother Malik, 22, charming and completely incapable of paying his own phone bill, was holding his phone up, recording everything like he was documenting a milestone. My mom was standing near the mic, whispering to Deaconess Loretta Price from church. When she saw me, she smiled so wide it looked rehearsed. "There she is," my mom said, loud enough for the room to hear. "The birthday girl." Everyone clapped. Aunts, uncles, cousins, family friends I hadn't seen in months. My cousin Tiffany waved from the back corner, mouthing, "You good?" I nodded, even though something in my chest was already tightening. I sat down. My mom kissed my cheek and whispered, "Just wait. Tonight's going to be unforgettable." She wasn't lying. The first 30 minutes were normal. Food came out in waves: shrimp, steak, sides I didn't order but somehow appeared. People laughed. My dad told a story about me as a kid that wasn't even true, but everyone nodded along like it was scripture. Malik kept his phone angled toward me, recording my reactions like I was a reality show character. At one point, I asked him to stop. He didn't. Then the server was told to hold the cake. My mom stood and tapped her glass with a fork. The room went quiet. She reached for the microphone, and my stomach dropped. "I want to thank everyone for being here tonight," she started, her voice sweet and steady. "Birthdays are about celebrating the people we love, but they're also about honesty, and tonight I think it's time we were honest." I looked at my dad. He was staring at the table. I looked at Malik. He zoomed in. My mom continued, "Janelle has always been our daughter. We raised her. We sacrificed for her. But over the years, she's made choices that, well, let's just say they've made things difficult for this family." I felt every eye in the room shift to me. "We've tried to be patient," she said, her tone sharpening just enough to sound like disappointment. "We've tried to be understanding. But there comes a point when love has to have boundaries. And tonight, in front of all of you, I want to say this clearly. Janelle is no longer our responsibility. She's no longer our daughter. We are officially done." The room went silent, not the kind of silence that waits for a punchline, the kind that suffocates. My dad finally looked up. He nodded, like he'd practiced. Malik lowered his phone just enough to smirk. "And me?" I sat there, hands folded in my lap, and said the only thing I could think of. "Okay, if that's your choice, I respect it." My mom blinked. She wasn't expecting calm. She was expecting tears or anger or a scene she could later describe as proof of my instability. but I gave her nothing. Because here's the thing, nobody in that room knew yet. For the past 2 years, I'd been quietly paying their mortgage every single month, and they were about to find out exactly what disowning me was going to cost them. I need you to understand something before we go any further. I wasn't the problem child. I was the solution. Growing up, I was the one who didn't cause drama. I didn't skip school. I didn't talk back. I didn't make my parents look bad in front of church people or neighbors or anyone who mattered to them. I kept my head down, got decent grades, went to college, got a job in healthcare administration, and stayed out of trouble. I was dependable. I was quiet. I was useful. And that's exactly why they used me. It started small. 3 years ago, my dad had a health scare. Nothing life-threatening, but the medical bills piled up fast. Insurance covered some of it, but not all. My mom called me crying one night, saying they didn't know how they were going to pay. So I helped. I sent money. They said they'd pay me back after tax season. Tax season came and went. I never asked. Then it was the mortgage. My dad's hours got cut at work. My mom's boutique wasn't doing well. They were 2 months behind, and the bank was sending letters. My mom didn't cry this time. She just said, very calmly, "Janelle, we might lose the house." So I opened a separate account. I called it my family support account. I set up automatic payments, mortgage, utilities, co-pays, whatever they needed. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't want them to feel ashamed. I didn't want my little brother to know his parents were struggling. I just handled it, quietly, like I always did. And for 2 years, I kept them afloat. Meanwhile, Malik, he got a new car for his 21st birthday. He got his rent paid while he figured out his business idea. He got praised at every family gathering for being ambitious and creative, even though the only thing he created was content for his failing YouTube channel. I got thanked once, in private, by my mom. She said, "You're a good daughter, Janelle. We won't forget this." But they did forget. Or maybe they just stopped caring. Because as soon as they felt stable again, the tone changed. I wasn't dependable anymore. I was difficult. I wasn't helpful. I was judgmental. My mom started making comments about my apartment, my job, my life choices. My dad stopped calling unless he needed something. And Malik? He started acting like I was the one living off the family, not him. I should have seen it coming, but I didn't. I just kept paying. Because I thought that's what family meant. So when my mom sent me that text 3 weeks before my birthday, "Let's do something special this year. You deserve it." I believed her. I thought maybe, finally, they were going to acknowledge what I'd done. Maybe they were going to say thank you. Maybe they were going to treat me like I mattered. Instead, they invited everyone we knew to watch them erase me. The restaurant that night wasn't just full of family. It was full of witnesses. Deaconess Loretta Price, who my mom wanted to impress, my dad's co-workers, my mom's boutique clients, cousins who barely knew me but showed up because Denise Brooks throws a good party. Even Tiffany, my cousin who actually cared about me, looked confused when she walked in and saw the setup. "This feels big," she whispered to me before we sat down. "You sure this is just a birthday dinner?" I wasn't sure, but I smiled and said yes anyway. Because here's what I didn't know yet. My parents had been planning this for weeks. The mic, the speech, the audience. They didn't just want to disown me. They wanted to perform it. They wanted people to see them take a stand. They wanted to rewrite the story so they looked like the victims. And I looked like the burden. And the saddest part, I would have let them. If they had just done it in private, I would have walked away quietly. I would have stopped the payments, moved on, and healed in silence. But they didn't choose private. They chose spectacle. And when my mother grabbed that microphone and said my name like it was a problem she was finally solving, I realized something. They weren't just disowning me. They were daring me to stay silent. So I didn't. My mother didn't just disown me, she performed it. After she grabbed the microphone and announced I was no longer her responsibility, she didn't stop there. She leaned into it. She tilted her head like she was delivering a sermon, like she was teaching the room a lesson they all needed to hear. I want everyone here to understand something, she said, her voice carrying that perfect mix of pain and strength that she'd perfected over years of church testimonies. We gave Janelle everything. A roof over her head, food on the table, an education, opportunities some children never get, and we didn't ask for much in return. Just respect. Just gratitude. She paused. Let that sit. A few people nodded. But instead, she continued, we got attitude. We got distance. We got a daughter who acted like we were a burden instead of a blessing. And tonight, I'm saying enough. We are officially done being disrespected in our own family. The room was so quiet, I could hear someone's phone vibrate on the other side of the table. My dad stood up. He didn't take the mic, but he didn't need to. He just placed his hand on my mom's shoulder and said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "We love you, Janelle, but we have to protect our peace." It was so calculated, so clean. They made it sound like they were the ones being hurt. Malik, my little brother, couldn't help himself. He set his phone down on the table, still recording, and added his own little performance. Yeah, like we've all tried, But she doesn't care about family anymore. I watched him say it, watched him lie with a straight face, and I realized he actually believed it. Or maybe he didn't care either way. He just wanted to be on the winning side. I didn't move. I didn't cry. I didn't shout. I just looked at my mom and said, very calmly, "Okay, if that's your choice, I respect it." She blinked. My dad's hand tightened on her shoulder. Malik's smirk faltered. They wanted a scene. They wanted me to break down, to beg, to give them a reason to look even more justified. But I didn't. Quick question. If you were sitting in that room and your own mother said that into a microphone, would you respond immediately, or would you stay quiet and let her keep talking? Tell me what you would have done, because what I did next changed everything. I stayed quiet. I let the silence stretch. And in that silence, my mom made her first mistake. She kept talking. "We've been covering for you for years," she said, her voice rising just slightly. "Years, Janelle, and you act like we owe you something." Covering for me, that's what she said, like I was the one who needed help, like I was the one who couldn't keep it together. My dad nodded again. "We've been patient, we've been generous, but there's only so much a parent can take." Generous, that word landed in my chest like a stone. And then Malik, bless his heart, decided to add details. "Yeah, like remember last year when you didn't even help with Mom's boutique event? We had to do everything ourselves." Except I did help. I paid for the venue deposit when their credit card got declined. But Malik didn't know that, because I never told him, because I was protecting them. But now he was on camera, lying. And the lie was so specific, so confident, that a few people in the room started nodding like they remembered it too. That's when I knew. This wasn't just about disowning me. This was about rewriting history. They were building a story in real time, in front of witnesses, so that no matter what happened after tonight, they'd have a version where they were the heroes. I looked around the room. Deaconess Price was watching my mom with concern. My dad's co-worker was staring at his plate. Tiffany, my cousin, was gripping her phone like she wanted to say something but didn't know how. And I realized they didn't know the truth. None of them did. Because I'd kept it quiet. I'd protected my parents' dignity. I'd made sure no one knew they were struggling. But they didn't protect mine. So I made a choice. I pulled out my phone, unlocked it under the table, and sent 2 texts. One to Tiffany. Stay close, don't leave. One to Alicia Grant, my mentor from the bank. I might need you to confirm something tonight. Are you available? Her reply came back in seconds. Always. What do you need? I didn't answer yet. I just put my phone face down on the table and looked back up at my mom. She was still talking, still performing, still building her case. And I let her. Because the more she said, the worse it was going to sound when I finally spoke. Here's something I learned that night. When people lie, they don't just lie once. They add details. They elaborate. They get confident. And if you let them talk long enough, they'll contradict themselves without you having to say a word. My mom was still at the microphone, and now she was talking about sacrifice, about how they'd put their own dreams on hold to raise me and Malik, about how I'd never appreciated what they did. My dad jumped in. We didn't have to do half of what we did. We could have been stricter. We could have let you figure it out on your own, but we didn't. We supported you. Supported me. I almost laughed, but I didn't. I just nodded slightly, like I was taking it all in. Malik leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, looking smug. I just think it's wild that she's acting surprised. Like we've all been talking about this for months. That was new. Months? I looked at him. He didn't even flinch. He was so sure of himself, so certain that the room was on his side, that he didn't realize what he'd just admitted. They'd been planning this for months. This wasn't a spontaneous decision. This was premeditated. Tiffany caught my eye from across the table. She looked horrified. She mouthed, "What is happening?" I didn't answer. I just watched. Because here's the thing. I wasn't interested in defending myself yet. I was interested in letting them fully commit to the lie. I needed them to say everything they wanted to say, in front of everyone they wanted to impress, so that when I finally spoke, there would be no way to take it back. My mom set the microphone down and sat back down, looking satisfied, like she'd just delivered the closing argument in a trial she'd already won. A few people clapped, awkwardly. Deaconess Price reached over and squeezed her hand. "You did the right thing, Denise," she said softly. "Sometimes love means boundaries." My mom nodded, dabbing at her eyes, even though there were no tears. My dad leaned forward and looked at me. "Janelle, we're not trying to hurt you. We're trying to help you grow. Maybe this is what you need to finally get serious about your life. Get serious about my life. The life where I worked full-time, paid my own rent, and quietly covered their mortgage for 2 years, while my brother lived rent-free and posted TikToks." I took a breath. And then I did something I knew would make them nervous. I smiled. Not a big smile, just a small, calm one. The kind of smile that says, "I know something you don't." My mom's eyes narrowed. My dad shifted in his seat. Malik looked confused. "Can I ask a question?" I said, my voice steady and polite. My mom exchanged a glance with my dad. "Of course," she said, though her tone suggested she didn't actually want me to. I stood up slowly, smoothed my dress, and looked around the room. At the family, at the friends, at the cameras that were probably still recording. "I just want to make sure I understand," I said. "Since I'm officially disowned as of tonight, does that mean I should stop the monthly payments too?" The room went still. My mom's face froze. My dad's jaw tightened. Malik sat up. "What payments?" someone asked from the back. I didn't answer. I just kept my eyes on my mom. She tried to recover. She laughed, light and dismissive. "Janelle, this isn't the time." "No, I think it is," I said, still calm, still polite. "Because if I'm not family anymore, I need to know if I should close the account I've been using to cover the mortgage. And the utilities. And the medical bills." You could have heard a pin drop. My dad stood up. "Janelle, that's not..." I'm not trying to argue, I interrupted gently. I just need clarity. Do you want me to stop the automatic payments tonight, or should I wait until the end of the month? My mom's mouth opened, but nothing came out. And that's when I saw it. The exact moment they realized they'd made a mistake. Because now, everyone in that room was looking at them. And they were starting to ask the same question I'd just asked. What payments? I need to be honest with you about something. In that moment, standing in front of everyone with my mom's face frozen and my dad trying to find words that wouldn't make things worse, I felt my hands start to shake. Not from fear, from something else, something that sits right between anger and grief. Because part of me still wanted to protect them. Part of me wanted to sit back down, let it go, and disappear quietly like I'd always done. Part of me wanted to believe that if I just gave them one more chance, one more opportunity to take it back, maybe they'd remember who I actually was. But they didn't take it back. They doubled down. My mom stood up, her voice tight. Janelle, this is not the time or place for this conversation. You made it the time and place, I said quietly. You chose the microphone. You chose the audience. I'm just asking a question. My dad stepped forward, his voice lower now, like he was trying to contain the situation. We can talk about this later, privately. We're already public, I said. You made sure of that. Malik looked between them, his smirk completely gone now. He finally realized he didn't know the whole story, and neither did anyone else in that room. I could feel people staring. I could hear whispers starting. Deaconess Price was leaning toward my mom, asking something I couldn't hear. Tiffany stood up from her seat, watching me carefully. And then my mom said the thing that made my decision final. You're being dramatic, Janelle, as always. Dramatic. After 2 years of silence. After 2 years of covering their bills while they called me difficult. After they disowned me on a microphone in front of 50 people. I nodded slowly. Okay. I'm going to step outside for a minute. Excuse me. I didn't wait for permission. I just walked toward the hallway, past the tables, past the stairs, past Tiffany, who whispered, I'm coming with you. Stay, I told her. I need you to stay and watch. She nodded, her eyes full of questions, but she sat back down. I pushed through the door into the hallway outside the private dining room. It was quieter here, cooler. I could hear my heartbeat in my ears. I walked to the bathroom, locked the door, and stood in front of the mirror. My hands were still shaking. I gripped the edge of the sink and took 3 deep breaths. I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to be the person who exposed her parents in public. I didn't want to be the daughter who brought receipts to a birthday dinner. I wanted to be the daughter who got a cake and a hug, and maybe, just once, a thank you. But they didn't choose that version of tonight. They chose humiliation. They chose performance. They chose to make me the villain in a story I'd been funding the entire time. So I pulled out my phone and opened my banking app. I scrolled to the account I'd labeled Family Support. 2 years of transactions, mortgage payments, utility payments, medical co-pays. Every single one documented. Every single one with a date, an amount, and a recipient. I took a screenshot, then another. Then I opened my text thread with Alicia Grant, my mentor from the bank. Me, I need you to confirm some transactions if I send you account details. Can you do that tonight? Alicia, absolutely. Are you okay? Me, I will be. Then I opened my thread with Marcus Hale, the attorney I'd worked with on a healthcare contract last year. I didn't know if I'd need him, but I wanted him on standby. Me, are you available for a quick call if I need legal backup tonight? Marcus, for you? Always. What's going on? Me, I'll explain later. Just stay close to your phone. I put my phone in my pocket and looked at myself in the mirror one more time. Be honest with me. Have you ever helped someone so much in private that they got comfortable disrespecting you in public? If you've been there, drop "I've been there" in the comments, because the choice I made in that hallway, I still feel it in my chest. I unlocked the door and walked back into the dining room, calm, steady, ready. Because I wasn't going to yell, I wasn't going to insult them. I wasn't going to give them a single reason to say I was unstable or dramatic or ungrateful. I was just going to tell the truth and let them try to explain it away in front of everyone they'd invited. When I walked back into the room, the energy had shifted. People weren't pretending to eat anymore. They were whispering, watching, waiting. My mom was sitting down now, arms crossed, her face tight. My dad was standing beside her, one hand on her shoulder like he was holding her together. Malik was scrolling on his phone, probably trying to look unbothered, but his leg was bouncing under the table. Tiffany caught my eye and gave me the smallest nod. She'd stayed, she'd watched, and I could tell by the look on her face that she'd heard the whispers too. I didn't sit down. I walked calmly to the front of the room, near where the microphone was still standing. I didn't pick it up. I didn't need it. My voice was steady enough on its own. "I'm sorry for stepping out," I said, looking around the room. "I just needed a second to think, because I want to make sure I handle this the right way." My mom's jaw tightened. My dad opened his mouth like he was about to say something, but I kept going. "Mom, Dad, you've made it very clear tonight that I'm no longer part of this family, and like I said before, I respect that. It's your choice." My mom exhaled like she thought I was about to apologize, like she thought I was finally going to back down. I didn't. "But I do need to ask one question," I continued, "just so I can make the right decisions moving forward." "Janelle," my dad started. I held up a hand, polite but firm. "Just one question. Since I'm officially disowned, as of tonight, should I stop the monthly payments starting tonight, or should I finish out the month first?" My mom's face went red. "Janelle, stop." "I'm not trying to embarrass anyone," I said calmly. "I'm genuinely asking, because I've been sending $2, $400 a month, to cover your mortgage, and another $600 for utilities and copays. If I'm not family anymore, I need to know if you want me to close the account tonight or wait until May 1st. The room exploded into whispers. Someone said, "Wait, what?" Someone else said, "She's been paying their mortgage." Malik's head snapped up. He looked at my parents. "What is she talking about?" My mom stood up fast, her chair scraping against the floor. "This is not the time." "You made it the time," I said, still calm, still steady. "You made it the time when you took that microphone and told everyone here that I was ungrateful, that I was a burden, that you'd been covering for me." My dad stepped forward, his voice low and urgent. "Janelle, we can talk about this privately." "We're already public, Dad. You chose that, so let's be clear." I pulled out my phone and held it up. I opened a separate account 2 years ago. I called it my family support account. Every month, I've been sending automatic payments to cover your mortgage and bills. I have 2 years of transaction records, dates, amounts, recipients, all of it. Deaconess Price leaned forward, her eyes wide. "Denise, is that true?" My mom's mouth opened, but nothing came out. My dad tried to recover. "That's not. What she's not telling you is—" "I'm telling them everything," I interrupted. "I'm telling them I helped you in private because I didn't want you to be ashamed. I'm telling them I never asked to be paid back because I thought that's what family did. I'm telling them that for 2 years I kept this quiet so you could keep your dignity." My voice didn't shake. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just kept going. "And tonight, you repaid that by disowning me in front of 50 people. You repaid that by calling me ungrateful. You repaid that by lying and saying you'd been covering for me." My mom finally found words. "You're twisting this, Janelle. You're making us look." "I'm not making you look like anything," I said. You did this. You chose the microphone. You chose the lies. I'm just choosing the truth. Malik stood up, his face pale. Wait, so you've been paying for the house? For 2 years, I said. He looked at my parents. You told me she didn't help with anything. My dad's face went hard. Malik, sit down. No, I want to know, Malik said, his voice rising. If she's been paying the mortgage, what have we been paying? Silence. And in that silence, my mom made her final mistake. She tried to redirect. She pointed at me, her voice shaking with anger. You're doing this to humiliate us. You're trying to make us look bad in front of everyone. You did that yourself, I said quietly. I just asked a question. I looked around the room one more time, at the faces of people who were finally starting to understand, at Tiffany, who had tears in her eyes, at Deaconess Price, who wouldn't even look at my mom anymore. And then I said the thing I'd been holding in for 2 years. I didn't mind helping. I minded being lied about. I turned and started walking toward the door, and as I reached for the handle, I said one last thing without turning around. The account closes tomorrow morning. Good luck with June's mortgage. And I left. I didn't make it to my car before my phone started ringing. The first call was from my dad. I declined it. The second was from Malik. Declined. The third was from a number I didn't recognize, but I knew it was probably someone from the party calling on behalf of my parents. Declined. Then the texts started. My dad, Janelle, come back inside. We need to talk about this like adults. Malik, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't anyone tell me? My mom, you just embarrassed this entire family. I hope you're proud of yourself. I sat in my car in the parking lot, hands on the steering wheel, and I let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. My phone kept buzzing. I turned it face down and closed my eyes. But I wasn't done yet. Because here's what my parents didn't know. I wasn't bluffing. I wasn't being dramatic. I had every single receipt, every single transaction, every single proof that I'd been holding this family together while they rewrote the story to make me the problem. And I was about to make sure everyone knew it. I picked up my phone and opened my messages. I pulled up the thread with Alicia Grant, my mentor from the bank. Me, are you still available? Alicia, yes, what do you need? Me, I need you to confirm something for me. I'm going to send you screenshots of my family support account. I need you to verify that these transactions are real and that they've been going to my parents' mortgage and utility accounts for the past 2 years. Alicia, send them now. I'll review and send you a confirmation letter within the hour. I sent the screenshots, all of them. 2 years of payments, laid out in perfect chronological order. Mortgage, utilities, medical copays. Every single dollar I'd sent to keep them afloat while they called me ungrateful. Then I texted Marcus Hale, the attorney. Me, I might need a cease and desist letter if my parents try to retaliate or spread more lies. Can you draft one tonight? Marcus, already on it. I'll have it ready by morning. Are you safe? Me, I'm safe. I'm just done. Marcus, good. Let me know if you need anything else. I put my phone down and stared at the restaurant. I could see people leaving now, walking out in groups, whispering. Tiffany came out first. She spotted my car and walked over, tapping on the window. I rolled it down. Are you okay? She asked, her voice soft. I'm okay, I said, and I meant it. Janelle, I didn't know. I swear, I didn't know you were helping them like that. I know, I said. I didn't tell anyone. I thought it was the right thing to do. Tiffany shook her head, anger flashing in her eyes. They made you look crazy in there. And the whole time, you were the one keeping them from losing everything. Not anymore, I said. She nodded slowly. Good, you deserve better than this. More people were leaving now. My parents were still inside. I could see my dad standing near the door, looking out into the parking lot like he was trying to decide whether to come after me. He didn't. My phone buzzed. A text from Alicia. Alicia, confirmed, all transactions verified. I'm sending you an official letter now. Let me know if you need me to send it to anyone else. I smiled. Not a big smile, just a small, satisfied one. Me. Thank you. I'll let you know. Then I forwarded the letter to my parents, both of them, with a message. Me. Since you wanted clarity, here it is. 2 years of payments. $2, $400 per month for the mortgage. $600 per month for utilities and copays. Total, $72,000. The account closes tomorrow. I won't be responding to calls or texts. If you continue to spread false information about me, my attorney will send a cease and desist. Respectfully, Janelle. I hit send. Then I blocked both their numbers. And for the first time in 2 years, I felt light. Because I didn't need to yell. I didn't need to insult them. I didn't need to make a scene. I just needed to tell the truth. And the truth, laid out calmly and clearly, made them look like exactly what they were. Foolish. The days after my birthday were strange. I woke up the next morning expecting to feel guilty, expecting to feel like maybe I'd gone too far. But I didn't. I felt free. My phone was quieter than it had been in years. I'd blocked my parents, I'd muted group chats, I'd set boundaries I should have set a long time ago. And for the first time, I wasn't worried about who was mad at me or what they were saying behind my back. Because the truth was already out. And the truth didn't need me to defend it. The calls came anyway, not from my parents. They couldn't reach me anymore, but from other people, relatives, family, friends. People who'd been at the party and wanted to check on me. Some of them apologized. Some of them said they had no idea. Some of them tried to play both sides, saying things like, "I'm sure your parents didn't mean it the way it came out." I didn't argue with any of them. I just said, "Thank you for reaching out," and moved on. Tiffany called me every day that first week. She told me what happened after I left. How my parents tried to save face. How my dad claimed I was exaggerating. How my mom cried and said I'd betrayed them. But the damage was already done. People had heard what I said. People had seen my calm. And when Alicia's confirmation letter started circulating, because of course someone forwarded it, people couldn't deny it anymore. I'd been telling the truth. And my parents had been lying. Malik texted me from a new number. I didn't block it right away. I just read the message. "Malik, I didn't know. I swear I didn't know you were paying for everything. They told me you didn't help. I'm sorry." I thought about responding, thought about explaining, but then I realized it wasn't my job to teach him. He was 22 years old. He'd been living rent-free while I paid his parents' mortgage. He'd smirked while they disowned me. And now he was sorry because it affected him. I deleted the message. 2 weeks after my birthday, I did something I hadn't done in years. I treated myself. I took the money I would have sent to my parents that month, $3,000, and I put it towards something that mattered to me. I booked a weekend trip to Savannah, solo, just me, a nice hotel, good food, and silence. I posted one photo. Nothing dramatic. Just me, sitting on a balcony with a glass of wine and the sunset in the background. The caption was simple, 25. No explanation. No long paragraph about healing or boundaries or revenge. Just the number. And the comments came flooding in. Not from my parents. They'd been blocked everywhere. But from people who understood. People who'd been there. People who said things like, "Proud of you," and "You deserve this," and "I've been there." That's when I realized my story wasn't just mine. It was a lot of people's story. The quiet ones. The dependable ones. The ones who gave everything in private and got humiliated in public. And maybe, just maybe, someone watching would see what I did and realize they didn't have to stay silent either. I closed the account on May 1st, just like I said I would. I got one final text from a family member I hadn't heard from, telling me my parents were struggling and asking if I'd reconsider. I didn't respond, because the answer was already clear. I didn't stop helping out of cruelty. I stopped helping because love isn't supposed to come with humiliation. Boundaries aren't punishments. They're protection. And I was finally protecting myself. If you made it to the end, thank you for spending this time with me. If this story hit home or reminded you that calm truth is still power, please like this video and subscribe to Revenge Bite, because I share stories like this every week. And before you go, tell me in the comments, what boundary would you have set first? The money, the access, or the respect? I'm proud of you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.